Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today I'm at Red River Chevrolet here in Bossier City, Louisiana. And as you know from the title of the video, we're going to compare these Blazers to one another. This is the 1LT trim level behind me, and this is the Rally Sport or RS right here in front of me. And you might wonder, as I show you all of the trim levels available of the 21 Chevrolet Blazer on the screen and their base prices, why am I only featuring these two? Well, the answer is quite simple. These were the only two available in inventory today. As you probably know, a lot of car makers have somewhat slim inventories across the country right now. Hopefully that will be changing in the very near future. But based on what we had available today, let's take a look at these two Blazers, and I'll put the prices on the screen for each trim level just so you can see which costs more, which probably is rather obvious, but that way you can see the difference between price when you compare that to the differences between what we'll see on the exterior and the interior and feature-wise between these two models. And keep in mind, one of the big differences between these two, while both are front-wheel drive, both feature a 9-speed automatic transmission, the 1LT is going to be the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. The Rally Sport is going to be the 3.6-liter 6-cylinder. And yes, we are going to do a test drive, and I'll try and give my most unbiased comparison between the two as far as how they get down the road and all that good information. Just to make sure I cover as much as I can, we don't want to cover every little detail down to the differences that there might be in the lug nuts, not that there are any. But what about the difference between the remotes between the two trim levels? Well, there are no differences, as you can see on the screen right now, on the front and the rear. And as you can probably see, I hope you can get a good view of that on the screen, they both have the exact same features as far as the remote is concerned. Both have remote start. Both have power rear lift gates. And we'll look at all that shortly. But let's start out taking a look here between the two front ends. And obviously, I don't have to say a whole lot. The 1LT, obviously, not a bad looking front end. It does have the chrome right here surround on the grille. But you'll notice the differences between the openings here. You have more of just the straight pieces right here, the slats, so to speak, along with the RS badge right here. And even though you don't necessarily see it from far away, there are some differences between the bezels down here that contain the fog lights and the blinkers on these two models. What exactly is that difference? It's found right here, and you can see the difference between the 1LT and the RS. And obviously just the overall look as far as the difference between having more of a blackout package compared to the chrome on the 1LT. And I'm curious to know, what do you prefer? Do you like chrome, or do you like more of the blackout package, the black grille, the black surround all over the vehicle with the trim, the black rims, or the chrome that you get on the 1LT? I'm curious to know. And if you happen to own one of these two Blazers, maybe you came to Red River Chevrolet and bought one of them, or maybe you bought it somewhere else and it had this same exterior color on it, you could honestly tell your friends and family, I own a red-hot Chevrolet Blazer. Well, you wouldn't be stretching the truth by any form or fashion, because that is what the exterior color is called. Now, you might not tell them that depending on which engine option you go with or your Blazer comes with from the dealerships. The 9-speed automatic transmission is standard as far as what the Blazer comes with. So, what about those engine options? The first option is the naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. It puts out 193 horsepower. You might say to yourself, I think I want a little more horsepower than that. There is the turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder. It puts out 230 horsepower. And if that's not enough for you, well, there is always what's under the hood of the RS right here. It's the 3.6-liter V6, putting out 308 horsepower. And to answer a very common question that I get in my videos, do the side view mirrors have turn signal indicators built in? The answer is the same for both Blazers. The answer is yes. And obviously you can see the differences between the wheels on each model, but one thing you might not notice And going back to the front grille, when you look at that bow tie, the Chevrolet logo up there, you're going to notice the difference between the 1LT and the blacked out version on the RS. Well, here's something interesting. Depending on what that looks like on the grille will determine what you will see here on the center cap on the wheels, whether it has a chrome style finish like this or the black rims as we have on the RS will determine what that logo looks like. And you're also going to see a difference with the lower body trim here, the molding on the lower side of the body all the way around. On the 1LT, you're going to see more of a matte finish and more of a glossy finish on the RS. Of course, Blazer will either be in chrome as it is here on the 1LT or in black lettering on the RS. Now, a big difference. You will see roof rails on both, but one thing you'll find on the RS you won't find here, this is one of the differences between the pricing, is going to be a panoramic sunroof. I feel almost certain that nobody on YouTube has ever shared this before, but let's just say you bought both of these Blazers and they're sitting in your garage or driveway, and you walked out with the remote in each hand because you needed to get something out of the rear cargo area on both, and you hit the buttons at the same time. Tap those twice. Nothing happens. Why is that? I don't really know for sure. Maybe there's some kind of interference between the two remotes, so let's just go ahead and open these individually. Hit the buttons a couple of seconds apart there, and just so you can see. And obviously there's no difference in the cargo space between the two, but as far as towing goes, if you're going to try and tow with a Blazer, well, obviously that's going to depend on a number of things. The engine, if it's front wheel drive, if it's all wheel drive, different things like that. One thing that is great news, no matter which trim level you get, a lot of people are starting to tell me in my videos where I show that a vehicle does not have a spare tire. It has that tire repair kit that a lot of manufacturers are going to. Not the case here. You've got a spare tire under the floor in each model. That's good news. And you'll see a continuation of the trim here on the upper portion of the rear bumper. Obviously here on the 1LT, that's still going to have that flat black finish to it as opposed to the glossy finish here. And the difference in the tailpipes also, obviously everything back here is pretty easy to see, but one interesting thing that I saw here, those are not exhaust finishers. Those are actually part of the exhaust system. Those are true tailpipes. And I've seen on much more expensive vehicles where it looks like it's part of the exhaust system, but it's really a finisher. There's actually a gap between where the muffler ends and the exhaust finisher is placed. So just a little something that everybody might want to know about. Now, one more thing I do want to show here that you're going to get on every trim level of the Blazer, let's hope you can see this, is that you can automatically lower those seats from the rear right here. There's a release on both. Let's see here if we can do this one, just so you can see. Reach in here and do that, and there you go. Just so you can know what's there. Now let's start taking a look at the interior and see what some of the differences are there. Now it's pretty obvious what the differences are if you look at the rear of the console in the 1LT, as you see on the screen right now, and then we'll switch over to the RS. You can see the difference between those two different USB ports you have down there. You also have a 120 volt power outlet here if you want to charge or plug something in, whatever the case may be. Obviously, I know that's not going to be the same thing as plugging into a power outlet in your house, but it does have its advantages. And of course, I talked about the panoramic sunroof here, a big difference. And obviously, the 1LT is the 1LT cloth edition, so that's going to have cloth interior compared to what we have here in the RS. And the interior here also has red contrast stitching. You've got the piping in the seats here. And another difference, your rear seat passengers, well, during the winter at least, can take advantage of heated seats. The outside seats, not the middle seat, just the outside seats. So you might have your kids fighting for whoever gets to have a warm butt and who doesn't. But you will find that there are heated seats here in the rear. Obviously, pretty much the same other than that as far as overall space goes. There are no differences between cargo space and or interior space on any trim level of the Blazer. Okay, a lot of the differences here between the interior on both trim levels is going to be pretty obvious, because you're going to see the red trim in multiple areas here around the air conditioning vents in the RS that you won't see over there on the 1LT. But one thing that I definitely believe is worth the money it would take to have it is the fact that the 1LT has heated seats, and here in Northwest Louisiana we probably need that maybe 3 months out of the year, if that much, and it's very spotty at that. But here in the RS, you not only have heated front seats, just like you have in the rear, you also have ventilated front seats, something you don't have in the rear, but maybe that'll come with the refresh whenever that comes with the Blazer down the road. And of course, the instrument cluster looks a lot more sporty here in the RS. I mean, you would expect that. It's pretty easy to see the differences between the two. You can see, well, pretty much what's different and what's not just by kind of looking around. You're going to have the same driving modes on both. You're also going to find wireless charging here. I'll show you where that is on the screen. And one of my favorite features here has to do with the camera views that are available here in the RS. Now, obviously, by 2020, all car makers in the United States were required to have backup cameras on all of their vehicles. So obviously that's going to be on the 1LT. And you have that here, of course, on the RS as well. But you also have multiple additional camera views and angles on this model that definitely help out. And I'm showing you on the screen right now where those are. Both have push button start for the engine. And right here to the left of the infotainment screen, something I love to turn off because I like to save the life of my starter. That's the auto stop start feature. So if you hop into a Blazer and you're wondering where that is, there it is right there on the left-hand side, just under the button to start the engine, to shut it back down. I think that's a very good place for that to be, because it's just so easy to be able to start the engine and then just immediately go down there and push that button and turn that off. Okay, we're going to do a quick little acceleration test here and just see how it does. Now, the only thing that I have to say here, I mean, you know, that's 60 miles an hour right there. I don't think that was less than 10 seconds, but, you know, it's not meant to be really fast necessarily. But here's the thing. No, I don't have anybody in the vehicle. I don't have cargo, nothing like that. So it's kind of hard to do a true test drive to know for sure what the situation might be like if I was to be driving with a full load of passengers, if there was 5 people here, or maybe some cargo in addition to the passengers. But I don't think it'd be too bad. And obviously different people are going to have different needs and desires depending on what they have as far as what's under the hood. Now, a couple of quick little things I do want to cover that I didn't mention earlier in the video. Both steering wheels are fully adjustable, tilt and telescopically. Here in the 1LT that we're driving right now, that's a manual adjustment. It is a power adjustment in the RS. And overall, the steering is good and responsive. The ride quality is very nice. Very comfortable. I remember years and years ago, I had a Chevrolet Blazer. It was my first vehicle. It was a 1985 model, and it was not comfortable. Not like this one. So we'll go back to the dealership, change vehicles, and see what the difference is. Okay, here we go with the 3.6 liter. Yeah, there's definitely a noticeable difference, to say the very least. I mean, if you're wanting the horsepower under your foot, this is definitely the engine combination you need. And I realize there's a lot of people, like I said, on the test drive with the 1LT, there's a lot of people who are going to have varying needs, varying desires, varying situations. They're not going to be so concerned about how much horsepower they have, but there's definitely a noticeable difference between the 193 and the 308 that we have right here. And I did forget to mention the other thing. I mentioned there was a couple of things I didn't cover earlier in the video. I only talked about one with the steering wheel earlier being power steering wheel, or fully adjustable, I should say, power in this case. But what is that other thing? Safety features. Now, there's so many safety features between the two vehicles that what I'm going to do is just leave information down in the description of the video so that you can take a look at that for yourself. That way you don't have to pause the video or anything like that. You can just take your time looking through that yourself down there. And that is a quick comparison of the 1LT Blazer and the RS Blazer to one another. Obviously there are some differences, and like I said early in the video, there's a big difference in price as well. So depending on what your situation is, what you want to spend, or what your desires are, well, now you kind of have a better idea, I hope, of which Blazer might be best for you. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends here at Red River Chevrolet for loaning me these two for the day, and all of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch and give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.